This is Case from Q101, and this is a Case for, a show in which I have coerced management and letting me talk to my favorite bands. We are back in the Q101 Lounge, and it is always a delight when I can talk to somebody that represents this city so well. I am with Taylor from Smut, which is a phenomenal band name. I'm quite excited to talk to you as there's a lot going on in your world. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Welcome to Q101. We're glad to have you here. I think Chicago is glad to have you. As we sit here, talking now, you're a few days out from a record that by the time everybody sees us will be out. But let's talk about it up top. You've got a record coming out in 2 days as we speak. How does that feel?
Amazing and also like really terrifying.
Yeah.
I feel like we were all really amped up, and then just yesterday we had a band practice, and I think someone said some existential like fear. And all of us were like, don't do this to us right now. We only have a couple days.
Yeah, I'm not a musician. I have no musical skills. Skills in general is something I'm lacking in. But I would imagine like it's a very personal thing. This record is incredible. I love it. We were talking before we started recording. There are people I know that are very excited to see you guys at Shuba's on July 5th. On July 5th. It's almost July. But I imagine just releasing something this personal into the world has to be terrifying. Yeah.
I feel like when you release any sort of art, and it's something that we've learned with experience now, that when you release something, you're just like putting yourself on a weird sort of chopping block / pedestal where you're like, we made this, aren't you excited? And then you have no idea like how people are going to receive it, or if it's going to be like the intention you are putting forth is like what's heard.
Because once you put something out, you lose
Control.
Ownership of it to some degree.
You have all the control in the world for like the year, 2 years, however much you're writing it, and then it's out and it's like, congratulations. Now it's like to the sharks. Like, who knows what they're going to say about it. But it's exciting, too.
Good. I like that. The record is Tomorrow Comes Crashing. We'll talk about that because I have heard it. It is tremendous. But let's start from the beginning. Who was the first band, who was the first person in your life, maybe it wasn't a band specifically, that made you want to write music?
Oasis.
Oh, let's talk about Oasis.
Definitely. I heard Champagne Supernova when I was in 6th grade. My dad took us into the computer room, because that's the time period it was, and played a YouTube video. And me and my twin sister laughed at their haircuts. And then when he left the room, we just like hit replay. And then by Christmas, it was an Oasis-themed Christmas.
Get out.
We got like posters, T-shirts, jackets, pins. It was like our parents were like, we know one thing they like. And I still have some of those posters in my house now.
Okay, well, we obviously have to sell these because Oasis is hot once again.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like pretentious about it.
A little bit. Do you have tickets to the reunion show here? Okay, great. I'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have tickets to see them, and then the very next day I'm going to go see My Chemical Romance at the same Soldier Field.
Because that week is the Lumineers, who we love at Q101, and then Oasis, My Chem, and then System of a Down for 2 shows.
Oh my God.
And I just feel, I feel like Soldier Field is actually not equipped for that.
No.
I feel like it might actually be a real problem.
Yeah, but we'll be in it.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'll see you at Oasis. That'll be fantastic. It'll be us and
Absolutely.
60,000 people, and I can't wait. Okay, Oasis, that's fantastic. And I guess I should note that you did not grow up in Manchester. I believe you grew up in Cincinnati. Is that correct?
I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, my goodness.
Everyone in the band's
Which
from
is,
everywhere.
I think, even weirder to be into Oasis in Louisville, Kentucky as a 6th grader, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how was Louisville growing up?
It was awesome. I feel like it's beautiful there. The thing I always say is it's a great place to grow up in and then leave. Because it's amazing and it's gorgeous and there's so much like cool stuff to do, but it's just big enough that you like get the itch and then you like have only so far you can like go, or like so many things you can see. So I think I've met like, I feel like 100 people in Chicago just like in passing, and they'll be like, oh, I'm from Louisville.
Yeah.
And then we went to like the same high school and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we just come here eventually.
Was it always Chicago as sort of the like big ticket destination of, man, if I'm going to get out of this town and I'm going to show them I can make it in Chicago?
It was all over the place. When I was a kid, it was like, I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to be astronaut. I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to move to London. Just any big city that I heard of, I was like, that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And then Chicago was more when you have your first apartment and you're like, who am I kidding? I need to stay in the Midwest, and I need stability and excitement. And I feel like Chicago's that.
I think it is as well. So well said. We know Oasis now was one of your early obsessions. A question I like to ask bands when they come in, because I feel like it says a lot about them. When you first got your car and your license and you were driving around as a teenager, what was the music that was happening in your life at that time?
Oh, I was such a 90s head child.
Born of the wrong generation.
Yeah, I was born of the wrong generation. So I had I had a Nirvana CD, a Pavement CD.
Oh my God, you're listening to Pavement in high school?
Yeah, I was such an annoying
Good God. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was just any Cranberries, any of those. I was just on repeat, and then emo. Obviously, My Chemical Romance.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Have you seen My Kim before, by the way?
No.
Okay.
And I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. They did Riot Fest a few years ago,
Yeah.
and there were too many people there, and it was interesting. But the root of My Kim, they still sound absolutely incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's going to be really, really enjoyable. What was the first concert you went to?
In Sync.
In Sync. Let's talk about it. How was it?
I think I was 7
Uh-huh.
or 8. And my dad worked in radio.
Shout out.
Shout out Troy Roebuck. He was a radio DJ in Louisville, and he got tickets. So we went, and I don't remember anything about it.
You've blacked it out of your
I
existence.
blacked it out. I'm sure it was wonderful.
Of course.
I remember a lot of pyrotechnics because it's a huge.
It's like a whole thing.
A whole thing.
Yeah.
In the year 2000 or whatever. And after that, I saw Coldplay. That's the first one I remember. And that was awesome. And then I saw Yes.
Oh, fun.
So it was a really weird trio.
That is a weird trio.
Yeah.
That's pretty early for Coldplay, isn't it? Right, if you caught them, good for you.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
That's a good flex. What? So I was thinking about your band earlier today because I saw you guys. Fiddlehead is one of my favorite bands of all time. So whenever they're in Chicago, don't get married. I'm not going to your wedding, your funeral, your birthday party. I'm going to go see Fiddlehead that day if they're here. So I saw you guys with Citizen and Fiddlehead, and then I saw you guys with Friko, and then I saw you guys with Ben Stellar this past year, who are cool scene bands. Do you remember the first, for lack of a better term, cool show that you went to that was this is not In Sync. There's weird people here.
Yeah. I feel it was probably Speedy Ortiz, if you remember that.
Yeah.
I feel I saw them a while back in Cincinnati, and I saw them, and then I saw Priests right after that. And I feel both of them, I was oh, okay, cool people. Maybe I should be a little cooler now.
Did you guys know about Oasis?
Yeah. I'm what do you think about Nirvana?
Yeah, pretty good, right? Yeah. All right, so you grew up in Louisville. You moved to Cincinnati at some point to start playing music. Is that true?
Yeah, I moved there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I moved there when I was 19 because I met Andy. And me and Andy started dating immediately. And then they were within, I think, a couple weeks of dating, we were do you just want to be a roommate? Because I have 5 other roommates. And I was yeah. And I think all of their friends were don't let that girl in our house. We don't know that person at all. So I moved there, and they had just left a band they had been in for their high school career. And they wanted to make music, and they were you seem really angry all the time. Do you want to write and then scream some stuff into the microphone? And I was yeah. And then we had the Smut demos, the very first ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that the first band you were in?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A prodigy.
Maybe. It's 10 years. I'm finally.
Well, how does the Cincinnati scene differ from the Chicago scene?
It's quite different. I feel we've lived in Chicago for 5 years. So I'm not sure fully what's going on with like what's coming up in Cincinnati now. But when we were there, it was very fully like DIY. Like we weren't playing venues like for a long time, and it was cool. It was very like post-punk. It was either post-punk or hardcore. Those were like all the bands.
Yeah.
And then us playing with those bands to like kind of confused audiences. But we were playing a lot of house shows. We were playing in like taco restaurants, record stores. But it was cool. It felt very like contained, and there was a really like strong music scene, specifically of bands that had a lot of like women in them. So I felt a little spoiled in a way, just being like, oh yeah, all bands have girls in them, and thinking that was like the norm. And it is more so now. But when we first started touring, I was like, wait a minute. Where are all the girls at these shows?
I was reading an interview with you in, I believe it was Block Club Chicago. I want to be sure that I give credit where it's due. But you talked about on this record, which is Tomorrow Comes Crashing, which is out by the time that everybody's seen this. And I highly recommend pausing my stupid voice, listening to the record, and then coming back and finishing this interview. But you talked about how on this album, you guys made a conscious decision to record it in a similar style to how you play live. As somebody who's never made an album, can you kind of explain what that means, what that process is like, and how that turned out for you guys?
Yeah. So on our last record, everyone recorded their parts individually. So it would be one person goes into like the recording booth or is in the room with us and plugs into like direct input. And we just sort of stacked things like on top of each other. And we would record all the drums first. And then we'd go all the guitar parts, and then just sort of stack on like that, which makes for the last record, which we're very proud of, but it also feels a little less in the moment. Like it's very almost like, what's the word? Like surgical in a way.
Like sterile almost?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this time around, we recorded in Red Hook, in a pretty small studio, but it was a very nice studio. And everyone just piled into that room with their instruments, and we played every song together as a band. And then they would just scrap my vocals, and then later on I would put my vocals on top. But I felt like that helped the band keep that live energy of like being able to feed off of each other in a way that we couldn't on the last one.
There's a real energy to it. You know, I'm such a big fan of the Audio Tree session you guys did because it's a live recording, and I felt like it had some real life to it. And this record, from start to finish, and I think the sequencing on it is excellent. The whole record flows, I think, really nicely. But to me, as the listener, an overwhelming success. Is this something you guys think you might do going forward with possibly another Smut record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think definitely.
Good.
I think it just feels, we want it to feel while listening to the record how it does feel at the show, like as close as possible. And I think that that's the best way for us to do it.
I like it a lot. Before I have some individual questions on the record, there's some songs that I want to talk about. We were talking before we started recording about when you guys did Friko's album release show at the Metro and some things you learned from the band Friko, who we love here at Q101. Would you mind sharing sort of the spiritual guidance that Friko gave you that night?
Yeah. Well, they didn't talk to me. Just kidding. They talked to me. They were very nice people. I got Nico's voice coach information that I still have to contact. But mostly I just didn't realize that bands that aren't like the Killers or something can have like set dressing and like decor and stuff on stage. Like for some reason that was very mind-blowing to me. So we're trying to utilize that for our release show on July 5th.
At Shuba's.
At Shuba's.
Tickets at, what is it, lh-shubas.com?
Something like that.
Google Smut Shuba's. There can't be any
it'll
other
pop
results than the Smut album release show. It has to be that.
Yeah, just Google Smut. Nothing bad will pop up.
No. The kids
For
love
sure.
it. Have you seen TikTok? They're all about it now. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Friko taught you that, hey, set design, pretty cool.
Yeah, and it seemed like they just were like, they as a band are amazing, and it feels like watching them, they're very natural and like organic in a way that I will steal for sure.
I think that is excellent. I think more bands should be stealing from Friko. I think music would be in a better place for it if they were all like, let's just do that. This record, I'm all about it. I think it's fantastic. I think it'll be a top 10 record for me by the time the year's over. I really, genuinely, really like it. I want to start with the song Waste Me, which was not a single, and I'm happy that it wasn't, because when I got sent the album, I go, oh, what's track 4 here? Oh, this song that I haven't been able to stop playing since I heard it. Talk to me about that song, the way it was originated, what you were trying to say with it, any production notes you have. I really just want to learn more about this song.
Yeah. Waste Me will be the final single.
Let's go.
It will come out the day the album comes out, after this, or before this video comes out.
Yes.
But that's one of my favorite songs on the record. That one felt incredibly fast. I think I wrote the lyrics to that song in like 10 minutes because I love to rant. And
as we covered previously, very angry all the time.
And I'm very angry all the time. Mm-hmm. So those things together, I was just in a particular mood. And I just had this idea where I was trying to write more stories if I could, like, manage that embodied a feeling. And I was thinking about the story of Icarus. And I had just like an idea, and I was like, what if he lived? What if he fell into the ocean, washed up, wings askew, and some like poor girl finds him and thinks of him as this like gift to her to like take care of. But it's just a dude. It's just a guy who didn't listen to his dad and like has problems with rules, and he fell into the water, and she like puts everything into him, and then he just leaves.
Wow. When you describe Icarus like that, he sounds so cool. He's just a guy that didn't listen to his dad. That's awesome.
That's what happened.
Wow, that's really interesting. I'm curious because you've referenced rage and anger a little bit. Do you ever worry that to be an effective songwriter, you have to almost live a life of tragedy and continue to get mad at things and put yourself in vulnerable, if not uncomfortable situations, because that might create better art? Or is that not really something that you worry about?
Honestly, I used to think that way. I felt like you really had to suffer for your art. And then the last album, How the Light Felt, was about the death of my little sister. So I felt like once something real and like horrible happened, I wrote about that, and it was very vulnerable. And then I was like playing these shows and these songs that I love, but I was like, oh my God, it like hurts. It's like you're opening up a wound over and over again.
Every night, yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do that. It's like when you are like an actor who like method acts. It's like, don't. Just pretend. Yeah. Actually.
Do acting.
Yeah.
Instead of, living this awful. Yeah, instead of living, yeah.
And I was such an angry youth that I just feel like it's kind of like acting. I'm just like, I'll just be angry for this. And I felt like for the album, I really wanted it to be emotional. So for each song, I wanted to put in a different big emotion, because instead of like me feeling insane all the time, I was like, I want people who feel these universal emotions to be able to listen to something and have that help them, or feel like community in that feeling instead of just me yelling at them about feelings,
Do you feel like as you get older, the anger and the rage and the angst, it leaves you a little bit, or do you still sort of have the same pit in your stomach that you did at 16?
It's like in waves.
Okay.
I feel like I am not nearly as angry as I was as like a kid. I got a therapist.
Hell yeah.
Which helps.
Love that.
But now it's just something, it sounds like insane. I'm like, it's just something I do for fun.
No.
Just get angry.
It's good to be angry for fun sometimes. Because I feel like now the anger that I experience is more directed, it's more focused. But if I'm going to get mad at something, I'm going to get really mad at it.
Yeah, and you have the experience to get mad professionally.
I love it.
Yeah.
Getting mad is good. Some people like run away from that emotion, but you should actually embrace it when it
Yeah.
comes up. It's a lovely
It's like
thing.
cathartic.
It is. Sid Sweeney was the debut single on this album, I think. It was the first one that came out. Blew me away. We were talking, before you got here, we were talking about you behind your back, about how much we love the music video for it.
Oh, thank you.
Which is highly recommended if you haven't seen it. What are you trying to say with that song?
So that song is named after Sydney Sweeney, the actress.
Shout out.
Shout out. She doesn't know us.
No, she's a big fan of
She's
this
a
program.
massive fan.
She loved the Ben Steller interview and the Knocked Loose interview.
Yeah.
She's a big fan.
Yeah. But I did write it about her. She inspired it. I just feel like there were a lot of... It's something that happens, like, cyclically, where you get this, like, new entertainer woman, and everyone loves her. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like as soon as she plays a character that is either mean or, like, sexy, everyone dogpiles on her. And it happens over and over again. It happened to Jennifer Lawrence, Anne Hathaway before that. Sid Sweeney's just, like, the newest one this happens to.
I always reference Megan Fox as the,
Megan
like,
Fox? Yeah, absolutely. And it just feels like they're just doing their job. Like, why can't they just play an interesting character? There are mean people and there are sexy people in the world. So just, like, let them play those characters without making it a personal attack and acting like it's being inflicted on you or something. So I was writing about that and being an entertainer. And, like, earlier we were talking about being put on this, like, chopping block. I feel like as a woman, the art is put on there, but also you are. And it's like, she's ugly. Her voice is annoying. Like, she's a horrible, like, piece of shit, basically. And it's like, just listen, just consume the art.
Just hang out.
And like it or don't like it.
It's going to be okay, though.
But, like, why do you hate me now? Which has happened a couple times, and it's always really jarring because I have a lot of guy friends in bands, and I don't really think that happens to them to that degree where it's just like, oh, I'm like the craziest ugly monster bitch in the world, according to Dude on Internet, number 5, you know. So that's kind of what the song was about, and I feel like that concept is really horrifying, and I've been begging the band to let me do a horror music video for years, and I was like, now's the time.
It worked. It's a great video.
Yeah,
it's a great video. It's a great song.
Thanks.
I have 2 more questions for you, and then we'll get you out of here. You can go about with your day. I would preface both of these with, I think they're cheesy questions, but we're going to embrace that for just a second. I'm curious, as, again, we're days away from this record coming out. By the time people watch this, it'll be out. What's the thing you're most proud of on this record?
Song-wise?
Anything.
Okay.
The album art's great. The videos have been cool.
Yeah.
The songs are killer. I
would say I'm proud of the songs.
Which is good.
I'll just say my favorite song right now is Sunset Hymnal. And every time I hear that one or play that one, I really feel like I'm, like, floating. I'm, like, really proud of that one. When we play it live, it makes me feel connected to my band members and the audience in a way that feels truly next level and like we're doing something that makes people emotional. I've had people cry at the shows, and I'm always
awesome.
like, good.
Yeah, that's a badge of honor. That's
Like,
fantastic.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
So that song for me is probably like my little crowning glory of the album. But I also just I liked the process with these people. We have a new rhythm section this time around, and shout out John and Aiden. They're amazing people, and we just had so much fun, and it feels cathartic to play, and I hope it feels cathartic for the people listening to it.
Final question for you. You think about all the things you've gone through in your life, all the anger you felt, all the art that you've now consumed and have made. Who's the ideal person to hear this record? If you could build a person from the ground up, who needs to hear Tomorrow Comes Crashing?
Oh my God.
I know.
Don't do this to me. No, I'm just kidding. I would say this album is for people who are really frustrated. And I think that that's most people right now. But I don't know. There's a lot of like weird sort of loneliness happening. So if I could create the audience, it would be people who want a community, who want to be able to thrash around and feel their feelings as big as possible, and not feel judged at all. I think my ideal audience would just be like humans, some real human people.
That's good.
Type stuff.
That's good. We're not making albums for AI just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank goodness. Taylor from Smut, I think you're wonderful. I think the band is fantastic. I think the record's awesome. Before we go, anything you would like to plug? Go ahead and look into that camera. Let people know what's going on.
Please listen to our album. I like it, and I think it's really good and worth your time. I love you. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. You should go listen to the Smut record. You should follow me on Instagram. That is @_Case Lowe, CASELOWE. Follow that band as well. You should go see them at Shuba's on July 5th. I will be there. A few of my friends will be there. We're going to have a really good time that night. Taylor, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The end.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that.
That was fun.